our featured story of the night. All right, everybody. So I've been biting my tongue about this project for a long time. Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. So we want to talk about it because being a lot of hate online, which is kind of unfortunate to me. I worked on the project, so maybe I'm biased a little bit that I love it a lot, but I started working on it in March of 2022, and they brought me in to stand in for Paul Rudd, and then it kind of warped into an actor double for Paul Rudd. So if you watch the movie, I'm actually like billed as his actor double, and we did a lot of stuff in this. If you watch the movie, I guess let me start off with this. If you watched it, there's that big scene which I talked about briefly, where there's a lot of Scots that keep appearing and appearing and appearing. So initially, I was hired to be the other Scots, helping him bounce it around, doing the lines back and forth. We had all the sides early on. So then I'm running the scenes with Paul Rudd, going back and forth. And for Paul, because he's worked on other projects, he wanted to kind of do a lot of it, but I would still rehearse with him. I'd still be there in the suit. It was a lot of fun. I had my own trailer. It was freaking awesome. But like I was in there, like run the scene, like what the hell, we're bouncing around. What the hell, And we had a great time doing that. We did that for like a whole week. So I was doing reshoots, did a whole week of reshoots just for that sequence of him getting under the jungle gym. Well, I say jungle gym because they had this blue jungle gym, and they had people in blue suits and also in Ant-Man costumes, like grabbing him and help hoist him up. I was in the Baskin Robbins costume a lot too, helping him out, which was a lot of fun. The biggest thing that I think I laugh about is like when we first started doing reshoots, they reshot the whole beginning. So the whole beginning of him walking down the street, and he's all happy and excited. We reshot that. And then the studio liked it so much, they said, let's bookend it with that. So we came back last month and we reshot the ending and bookended it with that same kind of sequence. Them excited, he's walking around, he's so happy. That was a lot of fun to like be there for the beginning and the ending. We shot the ending like last month. It's insane. But for me, like just the idea of being on set and like being in that environment was a lot of fun. The stuff with MODOK, I remember seeing they had MODOK, like it was a big cardboard cutout kind of, and there's a person like walking around like this. And I saw some early stuff before they actually did all the final effects, and they did a great job from where they were to make MODOK who he is now. And honestly, it was a lot of work. And I saw what they were doing too. They were live editing on set the whole time. And they kept bringing me back in to be an actor double for Paul. And I just keep putting that Ant-Man costume on, which fit fantastic, by the way. I can't lie about that. It was a lot of fun to wear that Ant-Man costume. I've been called Paul Rudd for like 14 years living in Los Angeles, and I finally got to meet the man and actually work with him and be as close as I could be to being Ant-Man. They do body scans of me. It was this whole thing. Like they were trying to use my figure to recreate Paul in the movie. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of stuff, and like little stuff, like a lot of little stuff. Even like when MODOK first comes in there, that's like, whenever it's behind the back, it's a lot of times it's me, because they had me like run the whole scenes with this shooting schedule that's gone on for so long, reshoots. It's like he's in New York, he can't get it, he's working on a different show, so they bring me in to be him, and I'd run the scene as him. So it was a lot of that, shooting me, replacing, using him, using me. It was a lot of fun. And for me, when I see the movie now, and I'm like, I think it came out great. Honestly, when we were watching it, I'm like, I knew a lot of the dialogue. I was like, oh, I know most of this dialogue here. It was a lot of fun to be in the quantum realm and like know so much about it. But they did a great job. And you think about like a movie like this with the special effects and with the blue screen, it's hard to get it to look that good. And to me, it looked fantastic. Like it really did. I don't know if everybody's seen the movie yet. I know people are hating on it because they expected him to die. Everyone thought he was going to die. That was the whole thing. And I'm like, he's not going to die. I couldn't say that, but to me personally, I'm like, he's not going to die because I know. We shot that dinner scene. And I was like, well, I guess he doesn't die. I guess he doesn't die. Which is actually because they're leading up for more, everybody. You can't just kill Ant-Man right now. I will still put in there, we can bring in a son. Just saying, bring in a son. But for me, I enjoyed the movie overall. I mean, when they get into the quantum realm, they get in there very quick, which I thought was great. And everything that happens there, the characters drinking the ooze so they can understand each other, I thought that was fun. There's some conflicts about the big final act, about it being too big, not quirky enough for Ant-Man, and the fact that he could beat Kang, people went nuts about. For me, though, I'm not really sure he beat Kang. And I think that the people, like the all other variations of Kang,
he beat the fuck out of Kang, bro.
I don't think that Kang is dead, though. I don't think that Kang is dead. I think he shrank smaller, and I think he's going to appear in the next Avengers movie somehow because he is the Conqueror, which is supposed to be the biggest version of Kang. You know, he's supposed to be the big bad. So, I mean, of course, it makes sense to have all these different characters come in and be Kang too. So now you have to all the Avengers fighting every version of Kang. Great. But to me, I still think the Conqueror is the one that everyone still talks about. So how do you kill the Conqueror off? And that was a problem too for me. It's like you can't. How's Ant-Man kill him? Because Ant-Man's amazing. He's awesome. You know. And there was also a lot of stuff that happened in the quantum realm. So the fact I think he just shrank him, and I think he might come back. Sabrina, you saw Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. What's your thoughts about the project? Did you like it overall? What do you think about the critics' response to it? And do you think that Ant-Man should have lived?
Do I think he should have? Obviously, I think he should have fucking lived. Like, that's a ridiculous question. Thank you for thinking that he shouldn't. Like, that's absurd.
A lot of
Um,
people thought he was going to die.
I don't know why. Why would anyone think he's gonna die? It doesn't even make sense to me. Like, he's Scott Lang. Like, let's not be ridiculous. Um, I think if anyone was gonna die, it should be the Wasp because she's super annoying. But
Oh, geez. She
I,
was so nice, though. She was awesome. Evangeline, she was great.
I have zero problems with her as a person. I obviously don't know her, but like I feel like her character in this was so like angry and like it was like almost like a Robert Pattinson Batman. Like she's mad at her mom, she's mad at her, she's like always huffing and puffing and being pissed. Oh, you never told me this, you never like she just seemed like I mean I guess that's how it's written, but she just was very chip on her shouldery. And then at the end she does, obviously help save the day like in a very big way. And
Of course.
but it was like very. I like the theme of family going throughout. I think Bill Murray was hilarious. Like the guy who you mentioned, the ooze guy with the holes, he was amazing. Cheedy was great. Like there were a lot of like day players who like lived in the quantum realm that were all really amazing. Jonathan Majors is um an excellent actor. I
Oh,
did love I did not love his cadence. Like I feel like he was shattering it up a lot, like just taking random pauses in the middle of sentences. I think that when he was with Michelle Pfeiffer, he was a shining fucking star. Like it was so heartfelt and real and like they had such a great connection. But like when he was being like angry king, I was like I don't know. I felt like everything was like kind of delivered with a like just weird pauses everywhere, and I was just like, I don't know. I don't really know. I don't feel the super menacingness happening. And again, a great actor, and that Michelle Pfeiffer shit was really epic. But like when it was him fighting them, it was like kind of like he just and I understood why he like if you think of an actor like what are they fighting for and why, you know what I mean? And this is actually I had a long conversation with someone that I work with about this, and this is what we were talking about. I understand he wants to get out of the quantum realm because he was exiled there, but why do you want to kill everyone? Like I just don't understand the why. I don't understand the why. It was a lot. And obviously I'm rooting for Scott Lang, and I'm not rooting for Kang. Don't get me wrong. And I loved Kang and Loki. Like I just feel like this, like he was just super. I guess being trapped somewhere for a really long time, maybe get really pissed. I don't know. I just wanted it to be more like I wanted to root for him more because I liked him in Loki. You know what I mean? But I really was like in the. I was just like, get him, get him, get him. I had no feelings for him
get
whatsoever,
him.
except for when he was connecting with Michelle Pfeiffer. I did have feelings for him then. Like I did. I felt his plight, but I didn't feel his plight like later on in the movie, and like that was a just destroy for me. But Michelle Pfeiffer, goddamn
So
girl, you
good.
look good as fuck. You're
She was
gorgeous.
great,
I
right?
mean,
She looks so good in person too. Oh
God,
my god. I saw her and I was like, it's like the
Jesus, she's
Catwoman
gorgeous.
vibes coming back to me.
It's
I'm like, oh, so
insane.
good.
Like,
I
I
know.
mean, she's beautiful and also spectacular acting. Like her acting was great. Like her 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 whole arc was great. Michael Douglas, dude, come the fuck on.
Come
As
on, amazing.
he was amazing too. Like it
Tiny
it
in
was
person, by the way.
tiny. Did you say
I yeah,
tiny in
I
person?
was surprised. I didn't think he was that short. I just didn't.
Well, he like
Just one of
survived
those.
throat cancer
Yes.
or something.
And such a nice guy too. Such a nice guy. So I'm like,
He had some
that's one of those things.
spectacular one-liners. He was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and the ant thing
There's
at the end I thought
good
was great.
humor.
I know people like give that shit too because people are like, well, the ants at the end, like, oh, the ants saved the
I
day.
love
Well,
that.
this is Ant-Man, everybody, and they set that shit up early on too. They had the ants in the beginning, that whole ant farm. They talked
That
about you
fell
saw them
into the
being
thing.
sucked into
100%.
the quantum realm.
100%.
Now, here's my thing: if they wouldn't have brought the ants back, people would be like, well, "What happened to the ants? What happened to the ants?" You know what I mean? So, I mean, people
I
would
mean, I
always
don't think
complain
anyone
about
would have
shit.
said that, but I
No,
understand what
people
you're
would have.
saying.
People would have. People are always looking for plot like holes. Oh, it's a plot hole. And
Oh wait,
it's a,
if they fell through and then didn't come out at the
yes,
end,
and then they didn't come at the
yeah,
end.
I agree. You're correct. Yes, I
People
agree
have
with
been
that.
like, where the hell are the ants at? You know? But I think that they get a good job like
Oh my
bringing it together.
goodness.
Why are
I
most great
was like, what are you talking
a,
about?
a lot of great actors are, and the typical
Sure.
guy in Hollywood's about 5'9", 5'10", but then it goes down from there. Like Tom Cruise,
He's like
is like
5'7", 5'8", the
yeah,
typical guy in Hollywood, I think.
Anthony Hopkins, of course, he's much older. He's pretty short. I mean, he's like 5'7", 5'8", 5'8", I think. But then
He
again,
shrinks when you get
yeah, there's also age stuff, that happens. So, but yeah, a lot of great actors aren't as tall as you think they are. A lot of times, you think they're larger than life, of course, because you only see them on screen. But a lot of times, they're a lot smaller than you think. Very true, Gr. Not
I
midgets, but
also would like to give a shout out to Modoc, who I thought was going to be super fucking weird situation, but he was super weird. Don't get me wrong, but it totally worked. And there was a lot of comedy with him and Paul Rudd. There was a lot of comedy
oh
with him
yeah,
and and there was that whole bit at the end with being a dick and like at least I got to die in Avenger. I thought that was all very funny and very well placed.
that was
Um,
great.
I I really liked it. I really liked it. I'm sad that people are giving it shit. I don't really understand why. The only thing that I could say negative is that it reminded me a little bit about Brian. What's the movie the animated movie that Disney did with
Um,
the land with Onward,
Strange Worlds.
Strange Worlds.
Yeah,
Like, there was a little bit of a parallel because it was like they discovered this whole land underneath the land of the living, and like, I don't know, like there was in the beginning when I was watching it, I'm like, the creatures were walking around. I'm like, does that remind you of the Disney movie that we saw? Like, that's the only thing that I thought was a little weird.
even the little creature who they drink his, I guess,
Ooze,
saliva.
my ooze,
Yeah, yeah,
ooze. He said, drink the ooze.
holes. I'm gonna call him holes, because he's like, he's like, how many holes do you have? That was awesome. Veb, his
Well,
name was
Cassie
Veb.
was like, drink the ooze. Like when he first showed up in there, like that was his ooze. And he's like, oh, you just drank some of me. He was hilarious and amazing.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I thought he was great, but that's also very similar to that character, the blue
Right.
character that was
Yes.
in Strange World.
In
So
the Strange World, right.
yeah, so I could see the parallel. I also thought it had a little bit of Tron Legacy. I love to say Tron
Oh,
Legacy
I
because
don't know enough about Tron to say
I
that.
love that movie. I guarantee we might have lost Lexi because we're talking spoilers, but I had a little bit of
Oh no,
Tron Legacy.
they both left because we were going to talk about Ant-Man. They said goodbye.
Yeah. The thing is, it's the Tron Legacy factor. The fact that, okay, you're being sucked, they get literally sucked into this world. So you're sucked into the world, and then all of a sudden, there's another version that's evil that wants to take all of his army into the real world and dominate, which is what Kang wanted to do. It's kind of the same thing, but that's what Kang does. He conquers. So I get the parallel there, but overall, like, that's just his character. So it's just a very similar character based off of, a dominating character that wants to rule the world. It's kind of the same thing like Clue was in the Tron Legacy series. But I still enjoy it. And Jonathan Majors, I go back, I still think, okay, here's my only thing. I feel like they could have done older with the casting for Kang. Here's my one little thing. I think he does a great job, and I think he's very good in what he does. But just think of, and I said this to Sabrina before, and I'll say it now. Just think if you had, I don't know, let's think of like, Sabrina, who did I say before? No, I'm going, but Denzel
Denzel
Washington.
Washington.
Let's say if Denzel Washington played Kang, what that would have been like, And he's a little bit older, a little bit more like he could be more of a general, beaten up. And I'm not that I'm talking smack about his Kang, about Jonathan Myers. I think he does Majors. I think he does a great job. But I mean, I just thought that maybe a different dynamic make him older. Like I think about when they did Thanos,
Well,
and of course Josh Brolin, you can't really tell because he's
right.
Thanos, so much stuff, but he's more of an older actor, and I think he carries himself a little
But
differently
if you
because of
look
that.
at all the Avengers, like they're all old. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like they're old. Like even like Scarlett Johansson is old. You know what I mean? Like it, like in compare, like in the world, like Paul Rudd is like in his 50s, like
Yeah,
Tony Stark. Like you know what I mean? Like it's just like this, older like sort of thing. So if you're gonna beat all these people who have like been doing it for so long, like I feel like maybe if you're a little more seasoned, but I guess because like I see what they're saying. Like he's the only person who can really see time, right? So if
yeah,
he could see time, like he probably could see time since he was 5. So it doesn't really matter his age. Like I see what they're doing.
yeah. It doesn't matter.
I agree with you because I
Yeah,
feel like someone like old, like I don't know. I guess like because as a kid you think of like your teacher as a villain or your parent as a villain because they're telling you not to do stuff or whatever. Like so,
don't
like
do that. Yeah,
humanity is like to have an older person be your nemesis because you can't just do whatever the fuck you want to do until you get to be older yourself. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So like
And that Yeah,
I
I get that. That's kind of why I was saying the same thing too. I mean, it's just it's a stature. It's like you're right. It's a figure that's like bigger than you, older than
like
you, so you look at it
respect,
differently.
authority,
Respect,
like
yeah.
that type of shit. Yeah.
And I don't even know like Jonathan Majors. He just seems young compared to most of the cast in there. Next to Paul Rudd, he looks super young, And Paul Rudd
Very
looks
young, and
young, and
especially
Paul Rudd
next to, like,
looks young.
Michelle Pfeiffer, and
Yeah,
especially next to there's a lot of, like, older cast in this movie. Well, no, I guess not a lot, just the 2 of them, but, Bill Murray too, also very much older.
yeah. He just
Um,
has a pop in though. Everybody, he just has a little pop in. He's like Bill Murray here. Everybody, see ya.
right, but so him
But it
and
was
then
fun.
Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer, and then Evangeline Lilly and Paul Rudd are both obviously older than him as well. You know what I mean? So, like,
Yeah,
really the only person younger than him is Cassie.
yeah.
I mean,
And she did a great job.
what's his nuts? Modoc also not older. I mean, older than
Yeah.
him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Corey.
Like actor
He's
wise, I'm just saying.
what a weird thing. I remember we were shooting it. No one wanted to say like it was him coming back to be it. Like there'd be the voice and they'd be reading the dialogue and stuff. And I'm like, who the
The
hell's
face is
Modoc?
so fucking weird, you
The
guys. It's
face, the
so
face is
weird.
super
Like it
weird.
is
But
so
that's the
weird.
point of it. It's supposed to be weird. I think it turned out pretty well. It was fun.
It
He was like,
did.
am I a
It did.
dick? Am I a dick?
I was super
I don't
nervous
want to be a
about it, but it
dick.
turned out really. I thought it turned out really well.
But it
And then at
also
the end,
makes
he had this
sense.
like moment. It was so cute. I don't know. I liked it. I liked it
Yeah, it
all.
also makes sense as from a story point that when he shrank, that would happen. His head didn't shrink the same way as his body, and it kind of it
They
kind
did
of
a
works in the
weird
narrative.
thing where they were like hanging him from
And
something,
they
and you
showed
see
his
a
little
little
butt
tiny
cheeks,
butt.
tiny
It
butt
was like a
cheeks.
Ren and Stimpy. It was a Stimpy moment. It was so
Hashtag
weird.
tiny butt cheeks. That's all I can say. Hashtag tiny butt cheeks. Yeah, it was something, and I think he turned out
I liked it.
better than I expected. It was good. It was a fun movie, and that's all I can say. Like people like sometimes just want to be like Marvel has to be the best shit ever. Well, just turn it off. That's what these movies are supposed to be. Turn the brain off, sit back, eat some popcorn, enjoy it. It's supposed to be a,
Listen,
a way of just venturing away from the problems of the world.
if you and I am an advocate of Thor Ragnarok. If you asked me to watch Love and Thunder or this, I 100% would pick this. Like 100%. I was so excited for Thor Love and Thunder because Ragnarok was so good and it fell short on so many levels. This I feel like was better than Ant-Man and the Wasp and like, more on par with the original Ant-Man. Ant-Man and the Wasp was like not super great, but I feel like this like kind of elevated the arc or the franchise of Ant-Man like back to kind of where it started. Like I don't know. I really I think that you shouldn't listen to what critics are saying because they're usually douchebags, and that you should watch it and judge for yourself, honestly. And that's
Yeah,
not just
don't
on it.
don't listen on it. Don't listen to the haters. One last thing I want to say though, it'd been really fun if they actually would have done it, but we were shooting a scene where it was like Evangeline's going through all these different like lives apparently, and they didn't put it in the movie.
A tiny bit.
And yeah, it was a tiny bit, and I was supposed to play her husband in something. They put me in the tuxedo and all that, and they thought it'd be funny to be like, well, it looks like Paul a lot, so it'd be kind of funny that she has a type. But then it didn't work out. We were shooting and it didn't happen. I was so excited about that, and I was like, that'd been really cool because it would have been fun, introduced that way. But still behind the scenes, but I still worked on a lot of it, and it
But
was a
they
blast.
never they didn't use that whole thing, so that
They didn't
didn't
use
even
any of
exist
it.
in the final cut.
Didn't even exist in the final cut. Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall, though, everyone that worked in this movie, Peyton Reed, oh my God, such a great person. He is an amazing director. He is so nice and so fantastic and so giving
Right.
and so caring. And he talks to all of his actors, everybody on set. He's so So nice. It's such a great person to steer the ship. I'm so happy for him for this movie. I think he did a phenomenal job, and I'm excited to see what he does next. And Paul too. Like I'm excited. I'm excited they didn't die. Let's let him have more opportunity. Let's keep Ant-Man around. Come on, you know. And if he wants to step down, I'll step in. Just saying. Anyways, thank you all for being here. We appreciate you being here on Cruise Control. It's fun to talk about Ant-Man a little bit finally. After all this time, I had to be, keeping my lips closed for a long time. But if you saw it, hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't seen it, go out and watch it. And do not listen to people. Like, the audience score is higher than the actual critic score. And there's a lot of haters when it comes to Marvel stuff. There's a lot of these people which, I've watched all their program, and they're just like, they just nitpick everything so much. Don't listen to them. Watch for yourself. Have your own opinion and enjoy the film, because there's a lot of people that spend a lot of time bringing this to you. And it's a fantastic movie. So hope you check it out and enjoy it.